வந்துச்சுன்னா இது மட்டும் சொல்லிட்டு போங்க. வந்துச்சுன்னா இது மட்டும் சொல்லிட்டு போங்க. Okay, we will start the session. Good evening, everyone. This is Saravanan, Prime Minister Research Fellow and PhD Scholar at Department of Civil Engineering, National Institute of Technology, Tiruchirappalli. So, as a PMRF, as a deliverable, I have to take 2 hours, 1 hour of NPTEL session or any session in nearby colleges. So, as a part of deliverable, I am taking NPTEL course Municipal Solid Waste Management for this session, July 2024. I am one of the PMRF TA for this course. Another 2 PMRF scholars are also parallelly taking courses, problem solving sessions. So in this 2 hour session, we are going to see the same lecture PPT of Dr. Ajay Kalamdat sir, and then in the another one session, another 1 hour, we are going to discuss about the old assignment and its solutions. Yeah. So if you have any doubt in between the session, please post it in the chat box. I'm ready to answer in between the session, or at the end also you can discuss. Please be muted during the session. Thank you so much. I'll start the session. Yeah. One second. Okay. So last week we have discussed about the solid waste and what are the functional element of solid waste from waste generation, primary collection, waste handling, secondary collection, processing and transformation, disposal, and what are the history of solid waste management and how solid waste management is happening in India, and what are the policies and rules related to solid waste management, that and all we have discussed in the first week. And this week we are going to discuss majorly about waste storage, handling, primary collection and secondary collection. In the next week, we are going to discuss some problems related to collection system. So the second component is waste handling and storage. So last week we have discussed about waste generation, how much it will generated and what are the factors affecting waste generation, that and all we have discussed in the last session. So this session we are going to discuss about waste handling and storage. So what is mean by handling and what is mean by storage? Whenever the waste gets generated, it should be properly handled. For that, we need to know what are the types and the characteristics of the waste, and then how to store the waste in different kinds of bins as per the Pollution Control Board norms and solid waste management rules specified in separate countries or separate states as per the bylaws. So this slide discuss about the handling and storage of solid waste. So for waste handling, what is waste handling is it's managing solid waste until they are placed in the containers. Once it is generated, up to until it reaches the containers or the bins, how it is going to be handled in a small in a dustbins or stored before collection or returned to the drop off and recycling centers, how it is going to be handled. And separation is at the source itself. It's not the segregation at the material recovery facility. It is the separation at the source. That's what we will call as source segregation. So source segregation is the important and positive aspect to achieve a 100% recovery and recyclability. So once the waste is properly segregated in the source itself, it is easy to manage. That's what the primary goal of solid waste management. So source separation and waste handling is very important at the source itself. Yeah. So this is some of the news cuttings and the pictures related to unsegregated waste and its impact, how it is going to affect the cattles, and as I mentioned in the last week, how it is affecting the domestic animals and cattles, and how aesthetic problems, and then water pollution, drainage blockages. These are all different problems related to mismanagement of solid waste at the source itself. So once the waste is generated, it should be properly handled and stored in the respective bins. Yeah. So this is the basic segregation we have to follow in our household itself. We are discussing about municipal solid waste management in this course. So all what we are discussing is related to household and this type of municipal solid waste only. So municipal solid waste comprises of household waste, commercial waste, and institutional waste. That's what we have discussed in the last week. Household waste consists of majorly food waste and all, and institutional waste consists of paper, plastic, electronic waste. Then commercial waste contains majorly of packaging, cardboards. This kind of waste will be generated from commercial areas. So this all comprises of municipal. This all we will call as municipal solid waste. Okay. So for household waste, what are the different types of bin prescribed in the Manual of Municipal Solid Waste Management, released by the Central Public Health and Environmental Engineering Organization, that is CPHEO manual, we will say. So as per CPHEO manual 2000 by the Ministry of Urban Development, now it is called Ministry of Forest, Environment and Climate Change. So as per that ministry and the manual, we have basic separation criteria. So green bin refers to wet waste. So as we all know, green refers to wet waste or food waste, organic waste. So green bin is for wet waste that contains food waste, flower, fruits, whatever degradables, eggshells, vegetable peels, household garden plant waste, soiled tissues, food wrappers, paper towels, fish and meat. These are all from kitchen waste and wet waste. So that should be stored in green bins. Then the dry waste should be going to the blue bins. Dry in the sense glasses, paper, cardboards, rubber. So again in the dry waste itself we have segregations, paper and cardboard in a separate thing, and material with the multi packaging. As I mentioned, I think you all had this word tetra packs. You know, no? Some soft drinks will be coming in tetra packs, like fruity packs or Maaza packs will be coming in tetra packs. So if you see, tetra pack is not only made up of plastic, it have multi-layer. If you open one tetra pack and if you see the thickness, in the thickness itself you can find 7 layer of different types of materials. One will be paper, one will be aluminum foil, one will be plastic, and different types of plastic. So this compound packaging material we will call as multi-layer plastic. So that should be segregated separately. It should not be, it cannot be recycled easily. Then another one is rag, rubber, wood, discarded clothing and furniture. So again another category is metal, glass. These are all dry waste. So if you mix all this dry waste also, it will be easy to segregate in the material recovery facility. So they will easily, so in the material recovery facility, they will easily separate paper, plastics, metal, glasses. But if you mix the dry waste with the wet waste, then only it will be difficult to recycle and segregate. So source segregation is very important. Then final one is yellow bin. Yellow bin is for domestic hazardous waste. So we have discussed in the last week itself what is domestic hazardous. In the home itself, we will have some hazardous waste like e-waste, batteries, light bulbs, tube lights and all will have different types of chemicals associated with that when it got broken. Uh, and how household medical waste, whatever the tablets we are using, and cotton, first aid kits, that and all will come under domestic hazardous waste. Car batteries, paint tins, this and all will have hazardous chemicals or toxic element present in it. So that will be categorized as domestic hazardous waste. So the three main category you have to know basic segregation. One is wet waste will be in green bins, dry waste will go to blue bins, domestic hazardous waste will go to yellow bins. Uh, so if you have any doubt, please ask me or put it in the chat box. I will answer in between. Yeah. So once the waste is generated, how it will be stored? So a collection vehicle collecting segregated household in indoor. So people, if they are separating in the house itself, then the collection vehicle will have two compartments. One is green, one is blue. So simply they will put the wet waste in this and dry waste in the blue bins. So this type of collection vehicle should be required to collect the source segregated waste. If people are ready to segregate the waste at the source, and the government or the collection authority should be ready to collect the segregated waste, or they have to be well equipped vehicle and technology to collect the segregated waste. Otherwise, so segregation won't work. You understand? So once the vehicle should be having separate compartments or separate vehicles for different segregated waste, then only source segregation will effectively work. Yeah. Uh, so after Swachh Bharat mission, a huge amount of fund was released for placing dustbins in different areas, different parts of the country, or different commercial areas. So you can see here one blue bin was kept in the tea shop, a local tea shop at the roadside. So waste segregation in the commercial area, workplace, or the education institutions. So everywhere, based on Swachh Bharat mission and the fund allocated, this type of bins were placed. Yeah. Then waste handling and separation at the residential dwellings. So as you know, dwellings is a kind of occupational area that we will say as houses, our regular houses, that's the residential dwellings. So different types of dwellings, how to handle and separate the waste. So we have four categories. One is low rise, medium rise, and high rise buildings. So low rise is like it's like a single house or a house with a single floor. And then medium rise building, high rise buildings are the apartments with the 7 stories. So these are all different categories, and how to handle waste at this type of at different dwelling areas. So once it is a low rise dwellings, the residents or the tenants are responsible for placing the solid waste under the recycled materials, and the homeowners and the tenants are responsible for transporting the container with waste to the street curbs for collections. So we all will be staying in a single home. Those who are in the villages, they will know, or small municipal areas, they will know. When they are in the single story buildings, the residents only will take the waste to the street, and they will discard the waste in the vehicle, and then they will get back the bin to their respective home. So the residents or the tenants are responsible in low-rise dwellings. So in the picture also you can see house to house collection is practiced, and the residents is coming and discarding the waste in the respective vehicle and taking back the bin to their respective homes. If it is a low and medium rise building like a 3-story or 4-story buildings, they have a separate waste collection system at the basement area. I mean the ground floor or G-1 floor, they have a separate um, area for waste storage, that's called basement storage, or outdoor storage, or occasionally compactor storage also they are following. If it is a basement storage, there will be a separate basement room, and there is a maintenance staff. He will come and take the waste from your apartment, and he will transport to the basement storage area. If it is a outdoor storage, a separate special enclosure they will have at the outside of the apartment, and people have to come and empty their container at the respective areas. Or some people may follow mechanical compactors to compact their waste, and it will reach the outdoor area, and the bin should be collected mechanically by the vehicles, unloading and loading mechanism. Because if it is a single home, the people can easily carry the dustbin and they will empty it in the container. But if it is like apartment, the bin will be bigger in size and that should be handled mechanically. Yeah. If it is a high-rise building, like more than 7-story buildings, then they have a separate chute mechanism. So chute is the one which have a opening at your home itself, and you have to discard the waste at this opening. It will reach the basement or separate premises by a long elongated pipe mechanism. So these are all different buildings. Here on story, here on story, another one story. So the people is simply discarding the waste into the chute, and the chute will that is called a garbage chute. The chute will transport the discarded waste and it will be segregated at the basement area in different categories like paper, cans, plastics, and the food waste like that. They will discard separately. So these are the mechanism in the high-rise buildings. Yeah. How to store the waste? Now we have discussed about how the waste is collected in the source itself. Now we are going to discuss about how to store the waste. So storage will be affected by 4 factors. One is like waste component. What is the type of waste? If it is food waste, we have to separately maintain. If it is a dry waste, we have to maintain separately. And then type of containers. If it is a small container, it should be handled separately. If it is a big container, it should be there should be a separate mechanism, mechanical system required to unload the dustbins or the containers. And then container location. If the people are, if the container is there within 250 meters interval, then the people will easily go and discard their waste in the containers. If the container location is far away, then the people will discard nearby area itself. So container location plays a major role. And then public health and aesthetic. These are the factors that should be considered for on-site storage. So if it is a disease-prone area, that the container location should be outside the city. Then the people can be protected from the what we call infections. So effect of storage on the waste component, like based on the characteristics of the waste, biological or microbial decomposition may happen in the organic waste, and it will be forming some odors. It will attract the flies, as I mentioned. It will create infections. So absorption of fluids, moisture from the waste will spread everywhere, and once the wet waste will be mixed with the dry waste, then the moisture from the wet waste will be absorbed by the plastics or papers, so it will also get contaminated. It cannot be recycled. So that is one problem, spreading of moisture. Then it will reduce the value of individual components for recycling. So whatever that could be recycled, the value of the recyclable will reduce once it got contaminated with the other type of waste. So because of this problem, house to house collection of segregated waste are practiced after Swachh Bharat mission came to force. And then type of containers. So in this type of containers, we have two major classification. One is hall container system, another one is stationary container system. Once the container itself taken by the vehicle and going to the disposal area or a material recovery facility, discarding there and returning the container back to the place, then it is called a hall container system. The container itself hauled. If it is a stationary container system, the vehicle will come to the location of the container. It will only empty the waste in the container and it will return the container back in its original place. Then it is called a stationary container system. So container will be stationary at the place itself. It won't move. But in hall container system, the whole container will be lifted in the vehicle. It will be transported to the disposal area. So where we have to follow hall container system, where we have to follow stationary container system. Once the waste generation rate is very high, then we have to follow hall container system, because if it is like a debris or a construction demolition waste or a bulk waste or a commercial area, the whole container will be filled. It could not be big containers. It could not be lifted and emptied. So the whole container was taken in the vehicle and it will be disposed in the disposal area like dump sites or landfills, and the container will be empty container will be taken to the original location. When the waste generation rate is very high, the waste generation rate is very low, like households and all, we can follow stationary container systems. It will be very small and the container can be easily emptied into the vehicle and it will be placed in its original location at the time itself. Okay, so the type of container will also vary based on, depends on different factors like the characteristics of the waste and the type of collection frequency. Once the waste is collected once in a week, then the container capacity should be required more than 50 gallons. If it is the collection frequency is very less, I mean once in a day or twice in a day, then small container is enough. Then the space available for the placement of containers is also a major factor. If the space availability is very less, then it should be only one container with a big size um, at the outskirts of the city, then it should be a hall container system. So these are all different factors affecting the types of containers. Yeah, container storage location. So here comes the rule. So the rule mandates the distance between dustbins not more than 500 meters. So if you see a dustbin in another 500 meter, you can see another dustbin as per solid Swachh Bharat mission aim. And then the distance between the household and the dustbin should not be more than 250 meters. Like that is quarter of a kilometer. Then you can easily walk and you can easily discard your waste in the dustbins. So the distance between the dustbin should not be more than 500, and the distance between household and the dustbin should not be more than 250 meters. So this is the basic rule mandates. And then generally we have to keep in mind that about the container storage location, where waste generation is more, there we have to place the container, and where the traffic is low, there we have to place the container, because the vehicle should come there and it have to empty the container, it have to take the container. If the traffic is very high, we can't park the collection vehicle there to empty the container. So traffic is also a major problem, and then distance between the containers will also be taken care while designing the container storage locations. And then another factor is public health and aesthetics. So infection prone area, as I mentioned, infection prone areas we have to avoid container locations. And then solid waste with the vermins and insect that often serves as a potential disease vectors. Yeah. So for this, some solutions like proper sanitations. You can see here how the waste was collected underground using waste collection bins in Europe, and then lids, periodic washing, proper closure of the containers is major aim, because if the container is not closed, then it will automatically create some aesthetic issue and spread of diseases through vectors. So you have to properly lid the container with the tight lids, and periodic washing of the containers and the storage area by the municipal crew. And then aesthetic consideration should also be taken care. Yeah, here comes the container capacity. How much container should means capacity should be for a container. If the family, single household family with 5 members, a container of 12 to 15 liter is enough. So you can assume how much it will be. 12 to 15 liters is like half of the bucket. It's like normal dustbin size. And for each dry and wet waste, that is important. So you have to have one blue bin and one green bin for dry waste and wet waste respectively, each of 12 to 15 liter capacity. If the collection takes place daily, that is another important factor. If the collection is happening every once in a 2 day, then the capacity of the container should be doubled. So once the collection is happening daily with a 5 member in a family single household, for each dry and wet waste we can have 12 to 15 liter container. Likewise, apartment complexes, it will vary. What are the types of bins we can use, like HDP bins with the 60 liters for 12 households, 120 liters for 24 households, and with the apartment of 48 household, you can go up to 240 liters containers. So this is about waste storage and waste storage bins. So here we are going to discuss about the processing at the source itself. We are not going to discuss about the treatment of waste, that we are going to discuss in detail in the upcoming weeks. But here the major discussion is about processing at the source itself. So what we can do in our household itself, how to process our waste. So the major aim of waste processing is to reduce the volume. This is the major criteria we all will follow in solid waste management. How to reduce the volume of the waste. So this is what the task I also faced during my project title fixing. How to reduce the volume of the waste. and how to recover usable material, and how to alter the physical forms of the solid waste. So this three is the major aim we can fix for any solid waste managers. So once the waste is generated, 100 kg of the waste, how to reduce its volume to 10%, 100 kg to 10 kg. This is what the government need, and the time to reduce the waste from 100 kg to 10 kg. So you can also adopt composting, so that will reduce the volume of the waste. You can also adopt incineration, that will reduce the volume of the waste. It will all 100 kg will be converted to ash of 10 kg. So that is also easy method. But once the wet waste is mixed with the dry waste, then the incineration will fail. So India, we can't adapt waste to energy facility because of the high moisture content and high organic content in the solid waste. That's why the waste to energy plant in Okla, in Delhi, and other solid waste, other waste to energy plants in India fails. So we have to think about how to reduce the waste at the source itself, and how to recover the usable material at the source itself, and how to alter the physical forms. So we have four options. So for dry waste, we can adopt separation and compaction and incineration. That is combustion. So once it is a paper, glass, metals, as I mentioned, cardboard, plastics, it can be easily component segregation, and it can be easily compacted. And you can, if it is having more calorific value, as we mentioned in the last week, we can also find the characteristics of the waste. And if it contains more calorific, we know plastic and paper will have more calorific value, so you can easily incinerate or combust the waste. So for dry waste, we can follow component segregation, separation and compaction, and incineration or combustion for dry waste. If it is a wet waste or a biological waste like food waste, garden waste, um, like street sweepings, leaves, that fallen leaves and all, you can adopt composting or vermicomposting, and then anaerobic digestion, that is by bioreactors or digester you can extract methane. So this four source processing technologies we are going to discuss in the further slides. Yeah, first component separations. This is what I have mentioned for dry waste. So recovery and reusable materials can be separated at the source itself to recover energy and to convert the products. So this can be easily achieved by source segregation. If it is mixed with the wet waste, as I mentioned, we can't recycle. So dry waste should be segregated at the source itself. This is a major point I will tell in all the slides. So source segregation is very important. In economic point of view, in community level, it's not good to use. Sorry, in a household level, it's not. It's uneconomical at the small scale. But at a community level, you can think about the source segregation and compaction. And in India, you can see lots of what we call as kabadi walas. Kabadi walas is like they will come to your home and they will collect the recoverables like glass bottles, plastics. Our mothers will easily give this type of waste and they will earn some money. This type of household segregation and recycling could be achieved by source segregation. Yeah. Then compaction. Compaction at the home itself. If it is a high-rise buildings, we can easily compact the waste, and it will reduce the original volume of the waste to 70%. As I mentioned, 100 kg can be reduced to 30 kgs by compaction, and it can be easily transported. Once the volume is 100 meter cube, then the container or the vehicle required for transport of the solid waste will be huge. So if you compact the waste, it can be easily transported. Yeah. Then compactors for large apartment buildings and the small apartment building, you can see this images, heavy duty trash compactors, and then shredders. Shredding and compacting is also followed in high rise apartments. So this is one option, source segregation and compaction for dry waste. Another dry waste option is combustion or incineration. This can be followed for domestic hazardous waste. I mean household hazardous waste. That was in the yellow bins. You can, only option for hazardous waste is to combust or incinerate, because it will easily spread what we call diseases, and it easily contaminate other waste because it has toxic contaminants. So we have to only option is to manage the hazardous waste is by incineration or combustion only, to make it as the ash and to reduce the toxic element present in it. Yeah. So cannot be performed in the household level. So as a community level, we can or a community or a municipality can design incineration plant, and we can do in the community level. So once the waste is collected in the yellow bin, it can be easily transported to the incineration plant. The process technology for sanitary waste include incineration and autoclaving. As you all know, autoclaving is a technology by giving high pressure and high temperature. It's a sanitation method to inactivate the microbes present in the solid waste. So it will reduce or it will inactivate the microbes present in the solid waste. So there won't be any biological or what we call infectious bacteria or virus present in the solid waste will be inactivated. So that's the process of autoclaving. At high pressure and high temperature, we can reduce the activity of the microbes. Yeah. So these are all about dry waste. For wet waste or organic waste, we can adopt composting. You all know what is composting. Composting is the process of degradation of solid waste or organic fraction of solid waste by the use of microbes. So microbes will degrade the organic fraction of solid waste. So there is two options. One is with oxygen, another one is without oxygen. If it is with oxygen, it is called composting, or without oxygen, it is called anaerobic digestion. Yeah. So that's the difference. So here we are producing a product that is called compost. This is a good soil enricher. We can use it, we can apply in the agricultural field to improve the fertility of the soil. Yeah. So we can do this type of composting in the household or community level also. So many village panchayats or many municipalities are having compost plant. In my hometown itself, we have 3 compost plant. You can also visit compost plant in your premises, in your hometown, or you can also visit the compost plant in your institution. In NIT Trichy, we have a compost plant. So we can also go there, and they are doing for hostel food waste and the garden waste, that is the fallen leaves. And then we have a horticulture garden. So there also, whatever the waste they are getting, that will be treated in compost plant only. We are getting compost as a byproduct that we are again applying in the garden itself to enrich the soil fertility. Yeah. So there are 3 stages. One is waste preparation, degradation of waste, then finishing of waste. So for waste preparation, we have to chop the waste and maintain the moisture content of 50 to 60%, and then we have to add some microbes. So addition of microbes in the sense, we can add some already prepared compost. So it will have more microorganism. So that will enrich the microorganism in the fresh waste to speed up the composting process. So what we need, we need to have a shredded waste, and we need to maintain the moisture content, and we need to add microorganism to speed up the composting process. Then degradation of the waste. So the microorganism itself will degrade the waste at the proper environment. So we have to maintain proper aeration and moisture for the microorganism to degrade the waste. Yeah. So there are 3 types of composting. One is composting in the pit, and composting in the piles, and universal composting. This 3 that is vermicomposting. These are all we are going to see in the upcoming slides. Then finally, finishing of waste. Once the compost is prepared, it can be screened. Screened is by small trommels or by normal sieves. We can easily sieve the compost, and we can get the final product. It can be packed and sold. If the composting is done in the community level, it can be easily we can make into a product, and we can market it. We can earn some money. So the manpower can be easily paid with the amount what we are getting by selling the compost. Yeah, this is actually a win-to-win purpose only. So composting is very easy to do if there is some proper guidance is there. So this is first type of composting, that is universal composting. So universal composting can be done in the household level itself. So you can see in the picture there is a vessel. So there we have to load the food waste or organic waste or the wet waste from the top, and after some time the prepared compost we can get from the bottom with a door. So this is the process. Compost is made in a bags or a bin. This is the type of bin. So holes are made in the bin for proper aeration. So as I mentioned, 2 things are majorly required. One is aeration, one is moisture content. So we have to sprinkle water often, and we have to supply proper air for the decomposition. And then the bin is divided into 2 sections. Organic waste is put at the top and allowed to degrade. Once the compost is prepared, it can be removed from the bottom. So this is the simple process of universal composting. So this is what she is doing in Bangladesh, a household universal composting. Then vermicomposting. Vermicomposting we can do in household and community level. So this is the ma'am we can see, Vani Murthy from Bangalore. She is called composting queen in India by practicing household vermicomposting in 2 feet bins. She is a role model for many people for doing composting. You can see her videos in YouTube. Vani Murthy, ma'am, will be she is called a composting queen of India. So it involves the use of special type of earthworm. You know, vermis are earthworms. So using earthworms for the degradation of solid waste, it's called vermicomposting. It's a simple process. I all know by using worms we can use so different types of worms we can use like Esini foetida, Euryalus eugenia, and Proxenix excavatus. These are all like majorly identified worms will have high efficiency in compost production. Yeah. So this is community level composting. They will have 14 different types of bin. So for 7 days, they will simply shift one bin to another bin, the waste. Then second day to third bin, third day to fourth bin. Like that, they will transfer. And at the 14th day, we will get a compost at the 14th bin. So this is the thing we are following. At the bottom, we have holes to collect the leachate, and they will every day they will turn the waste to for proper aeration. So 50 to 60% of our waste will contain biodegradable only. So we can in India composting we can easily do at the community level or household level. Yeah, this is one of the vermicompost picture. Community level vermicomposting plant. Then the third one, first one we have discussed about in-vessel composting, that is household. The second one is vermicomposting, and the third one is pit composting. So in Kerala and all, you can see many people in the backyard itself, they will dig a pit and they will discard their kitchen waste and they will close it. It will automatically degrade on its own. So this type of things will reduce the volume of waste to be collected and treated, and the volume of waste reaching the dump site will also be reduced. So this is a good practice we can do if you have large area at the backyard. Yeah, this is called pit composting, or majorly community level also we can do this type of pit composting, but it will take lots of time because the waste is buried and this has no oxygen supply, so it will take more time, like 6 months or more it will take to become a compost. Yeah. Then pile composting. Pile composting we can do in the community level. The waste is spread in the form of cone. You know the cone in the form of cone, and it will be dragged over length, and it will be turned every day with a proper with a separate equipment that is called turner, or we'll call shaker. So the waste will be turned every day to allow proper aeration. So it will have a height of 1 to 2 meter on each side. Um, and not more than 1.5 meter in height. So in Germany, you can see this type of this is another name for this is windrow composting. So the shape we will call as windrow. So this is a windrow or pile composting. We can do in community level. Yeah. So this is what the four composting types we have discussed. What are the advantage and disadvantages of household level composting? Is like first is like household compost production, that is a byproduct we are producing, and it will encourage the organic farming and reduce the amount of waste need to be collected and managed. As I mentioned, whatever the waste disposed in the dump site will get reduced once we treat this, once we adopt this kind of source treatment itself. And then the remaining waste is clean and easier to recycle. Once the organic waste and all collected in a separate bin and composted, then the dry waste alone will be collected by the municipal crew and it can be easily treated and recycled. So that is one advantage. And then disadvantage is in the household itself, it will create some odor because it's biological degradation. So it will create some odor. Leachate we have to properly manage, and the leachate also we can collect and we can pour from the top. It will again improve the degradation facility. So the proper scientific knowledge should be there, or a technician should be there to maintain. And then flies and rodents if not done properly. And then in-vessel composting required little space compared to the compost pit. This household composting is mainly used for gardening. Then advantages of community level composting, it will improve the local soil because whatever the compost we are getting, we are using for soil enrichment, and then it will create more local jobs. and it is known how and skill within the local workforce. We are adapting some local workforce. It will create more job, and it will be improving our agricultural fields. So these are all advantages of community level composting. Yeah. So another photo of community level composting in Alappuzha in Kerala. So it's by a campaign called Clean Home, Clean City campaign in Alappuzha in 2012. Members are managing their wet waste. So this is a treatment facility they are having. You can see different number of, lots of bins, not bins, tanks to mature the compost. Yeah. So another treatment option for the wet waste. So for dry waste, we have discussed segregation, compaction, incineration. And for wet waste, we have discussed composting, and another one is anaerobic digestion. So as I mentioned, if the wet waste is biologically degraded in the presence of oxygen, it is called composting. In the absence of oxygen, it is called anaerobic digestion. So in aerobic digestion, we will get CO2 as a product, byproduct, and in the anaerobic digestion, we will get methane as a byproduct. So this methane is or methane we will call as biogas. This biogas is we can use as a fuel for cooking in the house level itself. So you can see here, woman is cooking with the biogas produced from the anaerobic digester for in the kitchen itself. So biological process in which microorganisms break down the biological material in the absence of oxygen, producing biogas, which can be used as an energy source for cooking, fuel, production of electricity also we can do from the digester. Yeah, for that we need a biogas digester. In China, China is the major country, what we call user for this type of anaerobic digester. 30 million household people are having biogas digester, followed by India in the second place. 3.8 million households are having digesters, and then Nepal have 0.2, followed by Bangladesh. But it is always difficult to adapt one particular type of digester because the design will vary, and the type of waste will vary, and the quantity of the waste will vary. So this all we have to taken into consideration for designing the bioreactors or biogas digesters. So you can see here a biogas digester in the city of South India. So this is one type of household biogas digester. And here you can see a community level floating drum biogas plant. So the gas will be collected at the top, and it can be transported through a pipe to the kitchen to be used as a fuel. In the community level, there will be a floating drum because the amount of methane produced will be more. So it can be collected in iron drum, will be floating at the having water at the bottom. So whenever the methane rises, it will raise the cylinder to the top. So it will be rising to the top, and the gas can be collected through the pipe. Again, it will drop down. Yeah, this is the basic principle in the floating drum type biogas plant. Yeah. So here you can see this type of numericals, like how much size and how much height it should be. And proper mixing of water is required for anaerobic digester, and the right kind of environment for the bacteria. And it should be airtight because it is anaerobic, and the biogas accumulates at the top, and the slurry can be removed from the bottom regularly. This slurry is again a compost only. So it will be having a rich microorganism that can be used as a compost. And this is another community level floating drum biogas digester. Here you can see water at the circumference, and inside you can see waste. Mixture of waste and water in the anaerobic condition. So the drum floats to the top because it have huge accumulation of methane. Then the methane was collected through the pipe to the in a separate bag. So this is in the back side. You can see balloons. Balloon also we can collect this methane, and it can be transported easily. Yeah. So here now we have discussed about how the container can be designed and how to design the location of the container. Then we have discussed about how to treat the waste at the source itself. If it is a wet waste, how to treat. If it is a dry waste, how to treat. Then after treatment, whatever the leftovers, how to collect primary collection and secondary collection we are going to discuss. Yeah. So here we are going to discuss about the collection vehicles and the collection system. Yeah. So waste collection is the term used for collecting the solid waste from the various sources but also the hauling of this waste to the location where the content of vehicle should be emptied. The location can be a material recovery facility or a treatment plant or a dump site. So wherever it's going from the source to the location where the content should be emptied. So for in between, this stage is called waste collection and collection. Yeah. So there are two types. One is primary collection, another is secondary collection. The primary collection is also called collection services, and the secondary collection is called collection system. Because the collection services is for every household or a community level, and the secondary collection is for the whole municipality. So that is from the smaller trucks to the large vehicles. That is called secondary collection, or from the transfer station to the disposal site. So that will also be in the secondary collection only. Yeah. So we are going to discuss about the primary collection or the collection services from the solid waste from the source of segregation. How to collect from there to disposal site or the transfer stations. So we have four different types of collection services, out of which four are major. First is curb service. Second one is alley service. Third one is set out setback service. Fourth one is only setback service. So these are all four type of services we are going to discuss. So curb service is the one the homeowner or the residence is responsible for placing the container to the curb. Curb in the sense you can see a big container placed at the end of the street. Every street you can see this type of green color or big municipal bins. So the house owner or the resident should go and place the container at the curb, and it can be returned empty. The house owner should return the empty container to the storage location or to their home until the next collection. So this is called curb services. Alley services is the one where there is a separate place for bin in the city layout itself. So there storage of containers is always done on the alleys. The collection is similar to the curb service. The people have to go there and empty their container and come back. So one is curb, another one is alley services. And then set out setback is simply the door-to-door collection. The crew itself will come to your doorstep and they will collect and collect your waste in the vehicle. So here also the container are set out from the house owner property. They will simply keep the container at the doorstep. The crew will collect and empty. Again they will keep back in your doorstep. You have to take back to your home. So this is simply door-to-door collection. Here collection crew is responsible for loading into the collection vehicle. Yeah. So as per CPCB 2016 report, house-to-house collection was adopted in 18 states out of 29 states, and waste collection is achieved as 82%. This is actually a huge number in India. Having this much population, 82% of waste collection is a huge number, because it is not simple to collect 100% of waste that is generated. So whatever 100% generated, 82% was collected in India as per 2016 report. And another one magical number is 18 states are adopting house-to-house collection. That is because house-to-house collection will be more costly. It's not economical, but still it will reduce. It will reduce like it will have a good aesthetic purpose, and it will reduce the disease spreading vectors. Sorry, you want to ask something? Can you? Oh, thank you. Yeah, if you have any doubt, you can ask or you can put it in the chat box. No issues. Yeah, I'll continue. Yeah. So this is a graph showing how much waste is collected, house to house collection in 40 plus states and 40 plus cities, and remaining cities will have not having this house to house collections. This type of different treatment facilities and collection systems were depicted in this graph. Then as I mentioned, set out services. Set out services is the one here. Set out only difference from the door-to-door collection is homeowner is responsible for returning the container to their storage location. So they will simply empty the container and keep near the street itself. So we have to take back to our home. That is called set out services. But in set out setback services, the municipal service person itself will bring the container back to your home. That is a simple difference. And then backyard services. Backyard services is the one in which the containers are kept at the back side of your house, and the crew will come and collect when based on the frequency. So in the container, a sealed bag in the backyard of the house, it is then collected by the collection crew. Yeah. So which method can be adapted for which type of apartments? For low and medium rise apartments, who is responsible? A maintenance staff will come, and they are the responsible for transport of storage containers. Large sized containers, because it's a apartment, medium rise apartments. So large size containers, mechanical emptying is common. Here you can see side loaders. So the container will be kept here. It can there is a mechanical arm at the side, and it will take the container empty into the vehicle, and it will place the container back, and maintenance staff will taking care of all this process. If it is a high rise apartment, it will be a large storage container, and mechanical emptying is followed. It's not for a high rise apartment itself, it's not manual, everything will be mechanically operated. Common vehicles are hand carts. For small villages and all, we can use hand carts with the bins. And then tricycle rickshaws for waste collection, and then tricycle rickshaws with the hydraulic tipping for emptying the containers, and then mini truck. This is what we are having in nowadays, mini truck for waste collection with the hydraulic container system, arms to empty. Yeah. So now we are going to discuss about the comparison of different collection services. So here you can see curb, manual, mechanical, alley, set out, setback, set out, and backyard type of services. So which requires homeowner to cooperate. For curb collection, homeowner should go and empty the container. Alley it's optional, so anyone can keep at the alleys. And then set out, setback, homeowner is not responsible, only the collection crew. Set out also, it's like to empty full to carry the full container, homeowner is not required. For backyard also, they will come and collect. But to carry the empty container, after emptying into the vehicle, who will carry the empty container back to the home? In curbside, we have to do the house owner. Alley, it's again optional. Set out, setback, both the crew will do. And set out, only empty container to carry back to the house, the homeowner will do. And then backyard, there is no need of homeowners. So simply the crew will collect the. Yeah. 1 second. Yeah, the crew will collect the containers, and it will keep. They will keep back the container at the location, original location. Yeah. And then required scheduled services for the house owners. So for curb and set out, the house owner schedule is required, and other services like setback and set out, setback, and alley and backyard, it is house owners are not required. For aesthetic purpose, if you can see spillage and litter problem, it will be high in curb collection and alley collection. But in set out, setback, we are simply keeping the dustbin out, and it will be taken in. So it's like home to home, sorry, door to door only. So there is low aesthetic, poor aestheticity. Then container visibility, only in curb and set out, the container will be visible. Others, it will be taken back to the home. So there won't be container visibility. Again, aesthetic purpose only, everything. Yeah. So attractive of scavengers, which have more scavenger attractivities like alley only, because it's having separate layout in the city design itself. There is a separate place. Simply the scavengers will come, and it will disturb the dustbins. It is more in alley services. Then pronto upsets, that is also more in curb and alleys and set out, because the container is there. So it will be anytime it can be disturbed. But in mechanized and door-to-door collection, the container won't be left at the street, so it will be taken back. So there won't be any disturbance by the scavengers or any others. Yeah. So number of crew person required for door-to-door collection, it is higher, because many people have to come to take and then to return the empty container. 3 people or more than 3 people are required. But in curb and alley, only 1 people or 2 people with the mechanical equipment is enough, because to handle bigger containers. Yeah. And then crew time will be higher for set out, setback, because they have to visit every household. It's not like a simple dustbin at the end of the street. It is like every door to door. So crew time will be higher for set out, setback. Injury rate also will be higher for set out, setback, because they have to meet every household people. And then trespassing complaint, curb and alley, there is no, because everything at the end of the street only. But in set out, setback, there will be like complaints, special considerations, and then cost is again higher for door to door collection only. Yeah. So this discusses about the primary collection system. Then we are going to discuss about the secondary collection system. Yeah. In secondary collection system, like from the bin to the smaller vehicle, then smaller vehicle to the bigger vehicles, how we are going to collect. That's what we are going to discuss in the secondary collection. If the segregation is not there, again it will create aesthetic issues. So source segregation is very important. It will be emphasized in all the slides. Waste spillage, you can see, it will again create aesthetic and disease spreading of viability. So after JNRM, like that is Jawaharlal Nehru National Urban Renewal Mission, was launched in 2005. After that, more fund was allocated for the solid waste management alone, and more hall containers were kept in different locations of the country, and this was focused in this program. Hall container become the major focus of this program. They kept a large container at all the streets of the cities, and the vehicle will come and it will take the container in the vehicle itself, and it will go to the disposal area. It will empty the container and bring back the empty container back to its original location. This was hall container as we discussed, and then area with large quantity will follow this type of hall container system. Area with lesser waste generation rate again retained the stationary container system itself. Yeah. So collection vehicle, you can see two bin container vehicles, mechanized stationary container vehicles. And then after Swachh Bharat mission, this emphasizes more on collection of large quantity or high volume of waste. So compacted vehicles were introduced because everything is door to door. So more number of waste will be collected. So it requires compactors to reduce the volume. The vehicle itself, it will have the compactor. It will reduce the volume of the waste, and which took into account of the cost factors. Again, it will increase the cost of the waste management. But again, compaction of unsegregated waste led to corrosion inside the vehicle. So the vehicle will be easily corroded. So again, it will increase the cost of purchase of new vehicles. Yeah, this is the problem with the compaction of unsegregated waste. If the waste is segregated, compaction is good. For dry waste, compaction is good. For compaction of unsegregated waste lead to the corrosion of the vehicles. And the impact of segregation of the waste at source found it at most important in the compaction vehicles. Yeah. So again, as I mentioned, the secondary collection system was divided into two. We are going to discuss about the hall container system mechanism and the stationary container system mechanism, how the vehicle is collecting, yeah, to the final disposal site. So hall container system is HCS. This problem related to this type of things we are going to discuss in the next week. Hall container system is HCS. As I mentioned, container used for the storage of the waste are hauled to the MRF or transfer station or to the disposal site, and the empty container will be returned back to its original location. So it will be ideally suited for waste with place with high waste generation. So here you can see the proper mechanism of hall container system. So this is very important. You can see first, this is the first location, and the location is having the container with full of waste, that is full black container. So in the morning, the daily routine crew will come and it will take the container and it will be transported to the disposal site. The container will be emptied and then the empty container will be brought back. As I mentioned, haul loaded container and then haul empty container to its original pickup location. Okay. One second. Let me pitch. Hello. Am I audible? Hello, am I audible? Mm. Hello, 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 am I audible? Hello.
Now audible.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much. Sorry for the inconvenience uh, due to some
But
technical glitch.
it was not clear. The voice is breaking.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, somewhat breaking.
Okay, okay. I'll check.
Okay.
நெட் வந்துருச்சா? என் ஃபோன் நெட் தான் போட்டிருக்கேன். வந்துருச்சா? Is it fine now? Hello, hello. Am I audible now?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'll continue. Sorry for the inconvenience. I'll share my screen. I'm so sorry. Yeah. So hope the screen is visible. I'll continue. We are discussing about the Hall container system. So in Hall container system, first there is a one full container at the first location, and the crew in the morning will come and take the whole container with the waste, and it will be transported to the disposal point. It will empty the container, and the empty container will be taken back to the first location. Okay, then it will move to the second location. It will take the full container from the second location. It will travel to the disposal point. It will return the empty container to the second location. Then it will move to the third location. This is called the Hall container system. So whatever the distance required to travel from first location to second location and the location to disposal point will all be taken into consideration for the calculation of Hall container system. I mean, not for calculation, for estimating the cost of Hall container system. So this is conventional method. So to optimize this process, we have come up with another mode that is called exchange container system. In the exchange container system, the crew will come with one empty container, and the empty container will be placed in the first location, and the full container was taken to the disposal point, and the empty container from the first location was taken to the second location. Here it will place the empty container, it will take the full container from the second location, go to the disposal point, empty, and the empty container of second location was placed in the third location. So here we are reducing the distance traveled between the locations, and also the distance traveled to the first location. Here it will reduce the fuel cost and the cost, fuel cost and the time, manpower time. So here this is the optimized method of haul container system. But we have to have one empty container along with the crew at the end of daily routine. So finally, it will come for the second day with one empty container to the first location. But in conventional method, the empty vehicle will come and it will first take the full container. Okay, so this is the difference between conventional mode and the exchange container mode. If you have any doubt, please unmute and ask, or you can put it in the chat box. Yeah. So for haul container system, what is the collection trucks required? One is this is type of hoist truck collecting construction debris and all will be from this hoist truck. And then tilt frame containers, the whole frame will be tilted. This is also majorly for commercial services or complex apartment complexes. And then for transfer station, this type of tilt frame containers are used. And then truck, tractor, trash trailer. This type of longer vehicles are used to collect sand, timber, metal scraps, rubbish kind of thing. And this is also for collection and demolition, construction demolition waste only. So this type of three trucks were adopted for secondary collection. So what are the advantages? Useful when generation rate is very high. This type of haul container systems. And then the use of large container eliminates the handling time. It's not required to go door to door, and it will eliminate the handling time. And it will also reduce unsanitary conditions. Only one truck and one driver is required. But the disadvantages are once the container is not full, then it is not economical, because the half-filled containers are taken and transported to the disposal site, and then empty containers are brought back to the location. So once the container is not full, then it is not economical for going for haul container system. Stationary container itself is a good one. Yeah. So if you see the stationary container system, a vehicle will go to different locations and collect the waste, and then finally the full vehicle will go to the disposal point. Okay, the container will remain in its position always, it won't be transported. So that is the major point, the container remains at its point, stationary. So here there are two types, one is manually loaded and mechanically loaded collection vehicles. So the major application is for area with the smaller waste generation rate, like residential and communal waste and litters. So here the vehicle in the morning will come to the first location. It will empty the waste in the container to the vehicle. It will keep the empty container at the place itself. It will move to the second location, take the waste, keep the container there itself, go to the third location, and the final location it will go. It will empty, and the full loaded collection vehicle will be transported to the disposal site or transfer station or MRF facility, and then again the empty vehicle will go to the next cycle or next collection route, or it will go to the end of route. So this is the process flowchart for stationary container system. Yeah, here you can see what are the vehicles used for stationary container system, because every location we have to empty the waste in the container. So we need to have manually loaded trucks, side loaded, right-handed, this type of mechanical systems, and then rear loading is backside loaded. So separated means it have two compartments, and from the back we can load, and it have compaction system also, hydraulic compactor system, and then rear load for commingled waste. This is for source aggregated waste. This is for commingled. Commingled means mixed waste. And then mechanically loaded trucks. Then the advantages is for higher utilization rate, because once the container is not full also there is no problem, because whatever the waste in the container was taken to the vehicle. If the container is not full, no issue, the vehicle will move to the next location. But in the hall container system, whatever the waste in the bin, that should be transported to the disposal site. So that's the problem in the hall container system. But the disadvantages is like more, not suited for heavy industrial waste, difficult to service door to door, for high volume of rubbish is generated. In manual system, manpower is required is more, and special attention should be given to design the collection vehicle and the collection driver. Yeah. Then respective data of capacities. If it is a hoist truck, tilt frame, and tractor, these are all for all container system. What are the container capacity? And then for stationary containers like manual or mechanically loaded, whatever the capacity. So it will have less quantity, like 1 to 8 gallons, or 20 to 55 gallons, or 1 to 8 yard cube for mechanically loaded. And for a hauled container system, the capacity will be very high. Yeah. So this is we came to the end of the presentation. So today we have discussed about what are the types of container we can use in the source, how to do source segregation, and what are the different colors of the bins, what are the different aspects we have to consider for designing the location of the bins, then how the primary collection was taken place, and then how the secondary collection was taken place, and what are the different types of secondary collection, like all container and stationary container system. This is what we have discussed today. If you have any doubt, please unmute and ask, or you can put it in the chat box. I'll move on to the I'll move on to the problem solving session now. Yeah. So don't forget to write the assignments. Every Wednesday we have to give assignment before every Wednesday. We have to give the weekly assignment. So tomorrow is the deadline for first and second week assignments. That is the 7th of August. We have to finish first and second assignment. So please go to the NPTEL SWAYAM website and finish the assignment for municipal solid waste management. Every course will have a deadline on Wednesday only. So every Tuesday we are having 6 to 8 problem solving session by me, and other two PMR scholars are also taking in parallelly in different timings. So you can refer the mail communication for the timings. Yeah. If you have any doubt, you please ask, or else I will go to the problem solving session. Yes. Hope the screen is visible. So the first question, you can put the answer in the chat box, please. Yeah. The first question is, in functional element of municipal solid waste management, processing and transformation is followed by. So I had shown the process flow, the functional element flow chart of municipal solid waste management. In that, the first is waste generation, then handling and storage, then primary collection, then what? Then final node is disposal. In between, what are the things? They are asking about processing and transformation is followed by. Yeah. Hope everybody is online. Kindly put the answers in the chat box. Or you can also unmute and you can tell the answer. அப்படியா? Okay, okay. Final disposal. Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. You can see the flow chart. So first, waste generation, primary collection, then waste handling and storage, secondary collection. Secondary collection we will transport to the transfer station, and it will be transferred and transport to the disposal point. For processing and transformation, again it will be transported to the disposal point. Yeah, this is correct. So the answer is transfer and processing and transformation followed by disposal. That's correct. Okay, we'll move on to the second question. Um, which type of waste need to be discarded in blue bins for segregation of household waste? So we have discussed the basic segregation. So three types of bins were discussed. One is green, second one is blue, third one is yellow. So they are asking which type of waste need to be discarded in blue bins. The options are soiled tissues, paper, cardboard, discarded clothing, paper, cardboard, plastic, wood, metal, glass, e-waste, household medical waste, batteries, light bulbs, soiled tissues, food wrappers, paper towels, fish and meat. Yeah, option B is correct because uh, blue bin is for dry waste. That's correct. So green bin is for uh, that option B is correct. Option B is correct. Yes. So here you can see green bin is for wet waste, that is food waste, soil, tissue, food wrappers, paper, towel, fish and meat, fruit, flowers. Blue bin is for recyclables. Domestic hazardous is for yellow bins. Yeah, that's correct. So this is as per CPHEO manual 2000 manual on municipal solid waste management. Yeah. So the third question is what is the maximum distance between a house and the nearest dustbin for waste storage? So this we have discussed. What is the maximum distance between a house and the nearest dustbin? We have discussed two criteria. One is the distance between the maximum distance between two bins and a distance between the household and the bin. Yeah, answer A. Correct. This is 250 meter, half a kilometer, sorry, quarter a kilometer. So here you can see distance between dustbins is 500 meter. Distance between household and a dustbin is 250 meter. These are all the factors we need to consider for container storage location design. Where the waste generation is more, where the traffic is low, and the distance should be maintained within 500 meter, and the distance should not be more than 250 meter between the house and the dustbin. These are all the factors we need to keep in mind while designing for location. Yeah. So the fourth question, which is the most common on-site processing operation used at residential dwelling for dry waste? On-site processing. We have discussed about four processing options. Two are for wet waste, two are for dry waste. For dry waste, they are asking in residential dwelling. Yeah. So option, yeah, that's correct. Option A, fine, incineration. Because if it is a dry waste, it will have more calorific value, or if it is hazardous waste, usually we need to anyway incinerate and autoclave. So component separation, compaction, and incineration are for dry waste. Composting, vermicomposting, anaerobic digestion is for wet and biological waste. Perfect. So the first question, what are the processing technologies used for sanitary waste? Sanitary in the sense, sanitary is hazardous, household hazardous or sanitary waste. Sanitary waste come under household hazardous. Yeah. Gasification, anaerobic digestion, gasification and incineration, autoclaving and incineration. And this we have discussed in one of the slides. So option D is correct. Yeah. Autoclaving and incineration. So in this slide we have discussed yellow bin is for hazardous, household hazardous waste that should be only incinerated. Processing technology for here you can see processing technologies for sanitary waste include incineration and autoclaving. That is correct. So moving on to sixth question, what are the techniques used to speed up the composting process? What are the techniques used to speed up the composting process? Addition of more waste, maintaining optimum ratio of wet and dry waste, addition of microorganism, reducing the moisture content to 20%, which will speed up the composting process. Yeah, option Option C is correct because addition of more waste won't work out. And then optimum ratio of wet and dry waste. We should not mix wet and dry waste. So this is also wrong. Reducing the moisture content to 20%. We have to maintain the moisture content from 20 to 30%. So that is also wrong. So addition of microorganism will boost or speed up the composting process. So that's maintained here, mentioned here. Sorry, moisture content should be maintained from 50 to 60%, not 20, less than 20. Yeah. So here it's mentioned in the waste preparation, addition of little mature compost or effective microorganism to speed up the composting process. So option C is correct. Yeah. So question number 7. Which type of composting is done only in household level? Only in household level. Universal composting, pile composting, vermicomposting, pit composting. So some can be done in household level and also in community level, but something which can be done only in household level. So these are the 4 types of composting. Yeah, option A is correct. Universal composting could be done only in household level. So we have been seen here. Yeah, these are small bins we can do only in household levels. So question 8. Which of the following is included in secondary collection of waste? Curb services, alley services, set out services, hall container system. In secondary collection. Yeah, in the name itself you can find what is the other name of primary collection, what is the other name of secondary collection. So primary collection can also be called collection services. Secondary collection is also called collection systems. So the first 3 are collection services, that is primary collection, and the fourth one is collection system, that is secondary collection. So option D is correct. Yeah, hall container system. You can see here secondary collection, hall container system comes under secondary collection. Hall and stationary container system. HCS and SCS you could remember. In the next week we are going to discuss some problems related to this type of container system design or comparison of cost effectiveness of different container systems. Yeah. Moving on to the question 9. In which waste collection services, that is primary collection, house owner is responsible for returning the container to their storage location? Backyard services, set out services, set out set back services, door to door services. Anshu sir, can you please check your answer? And no, not C. Once the waste was kept in the backyard, the crew will come and collect it, and it will return back. So no need of house owners. If it is set out set back, it's again door to door. So the crew will come to our door, it will collect, and it will again return the empty container in the doorstep itself. So this is also not require any house owner. Set out, set back, and door to door collection are same only. C and D are same option. So that is also wrong. So in set out services, only the people, the residents will keep the container. Sorry, the crew will come and collect the container, but the empty container will be taken care by the residents. That's what asked in the question. Retaining the container to the storage location. That is the empty container to the storage location is set out services. Option D, C and D are the same one. Set out, set back, and door to door are same one. Yeah. Here you can see set out. Only difference from the set out, set back services is house owner is responsible for returning the containers. Yeah. Please go through the slides again. We have seen 4. Can I go to the slides again? It will be useful for you. I'll just as a glance, I will teach you again. So in curb services, at the curb there will be a container. House owner will go empty and they will return the original empty container. In alley services also they will go, and in the alleys they will empty, and the empty container they will bring back. In set out set back door to door collection, the tree itself will take the container and it will empty, and the empty container will be taken care by the municipal crew itself. So there is no need of house owners. In set out services, They will simply empty and they will keep in the street itself. The house owners have to come and take the empty container, returning the containers. And in the backyard services, we will simply keep it in the backyard. The crew will come and collect and it will return the empty container. The crew itself will take care everything. Okay, these are the five types we have discussed. The services, that is primary collection. Okay, so now we can easily answer. The answer is set out for house owner's responsibility. Okay, so 10th question: in which collection services the cost due to size and time requirement is highest? Curb services, early services, set out setback services, backyard services. Yeah, we have discussed the table, comparison table. Cost due to size and time requirement is highest. Size means not size of the crew, they are telling size of the crew, number of manpower requirement, and the time requirement. Yeah, option C is correct because that is set out setback door to door collection. Many people have to come. I mean, crew have to, three to five people required with the vehicle, and they have to come to every household to collect. And the cost also will be higher. Yeah, that's what we have discussed. Crew time, cost, everything is higher for set out setback door to door collection system. Correct. Yeah. So this is 2023 we have discussed. Now 2022 July questions we are going to discuss. Yeah. Only 8 questions are there. Which of the following are the advantages of hall container system? This is multiple choice question. More than one answer also correct. You can take it as A, B, C, D. Which of the following are the advantages of hall container system? So hall container system is only suitable for higher generation rate. Okay, I'll move on to the answer. I think I can discuss with the slide. Flexibility is the answer because in hall container system, it will be useful only when the waste generation rate is very higher. And another advantage is like it is flexible because anytime any size of many different size and shape are available for the collection of all type of waste. So flexibility in location, flexibility in place of the container because the whole container will be taken care by the vehicle. So we can keep anywhere. If there is any construction need to be happen in the location of the container, so the container can be moved to some other place. But in stationary container system, the container location is fixed. We can't move. So in there is a flexibility in hall container system for location and the place of the container. So the advantage of the hall container system is its flexibility. What are the other options? Diminishing handle time. So that is not correct. Handling time is low for stationary container system. Higher utilization rate is also for stationary container. More machinery required for stationary container. Flexibility is the advantage. Yeah. Okay. Moving on to the second question. In dash dwellings, the residents or house owners are responsible for placing the container containing solid waste on the curb. So we have discussed three types of buildings like low rise, low medium rise and high rise buildings in which the residents or the homeowners are responsible for placing the container on the curb. This is easier. So the answer is low rise because in low rise only the residents or the tenants are responsible. In medium rise building there is separate uh, operator or what we can say like
Maintenance staff.
we'll go to the slide. Waste handling. In low rise, residents are tenants are responsible. In low medium rise, there is a maintenance staff responsible. In high rise building, tenants will be simply placing the waste at the chutes. So there is no requirement of any waste handlers. So that is the answer. So for low rise building only, the residents or tenants are responsible for placing the container containing solid waste on the curb. In high-rise building, there is no type of curb system. Yeah. So the third question, factors that are considered in on-site storage of solid waste: container type, container location, public health and aesthetic. All of this or none of this? Factors that are considered in on-site storage. Yeah, option D is correct. Yes. Container type, container location, public health and aesthetic, and all of this. That's correct. So here we can see storage is affected by this are the factors: waste component, type of container, container location, public health, and aesthetics. So the fourth question, list out the factor on which the solid waste storage container is not dependent. Collection frequency. Storage container is not depend on collection frequency, type of collection system, space required, none of the above. So you think about the container. Container size is based on collection frequency because once the waste is collected every day or diurnal or twice in a day, twice once in 2 days, it all will be affected. The container storage container volume is affected by the collection frequency and the type of collection system and the space required. So all of these factors are related to solid waste storage containers. So none of these are not dependent. So option D is correct. So you can see the characteristics and the type of solid waste, type of collection system, collection frequency, and space availability. Yeah, that's correct. So this is the same question, not same question. The distance between containers should be. There it was the distance between the household and the container. Here the distance between the container should be a maximum of should be not A. So can you check the answer, please? It's not A.
Less than 500 meter.
It's less than 500 meter. I will go to the slide. It's not more than 500 meter. That means it should be less than 500 meter because the container should be as much as closed. Then only the people will come and discard the waste. So it should not be more than 500 meter. And house and container should not be more than 250 meter distance. Yeah. The sixth question is container capacity for a single household with the daily collection for a people of for a 5-member occupation. It will be 0.1 to 0.15 meter, 12 to 15 meter cube, 12 to 15 liters, 0.1 to 0.15 liters. Yeah. So the answer is 12 to 15 liters. That's correct. So in this table we have mentioned, not this table, sorry, I wrongly mentioned. That is like for a single household with 5 members and the collection period is every daily, then it will be 5 to, I'll show the slide. Yeah, here. Container capacity. Single household family of 5 members, a container of 12 to 15 liter each for each dry and wet waste. That is again important. If the collection takes place daily, so there should be a 2 bins required of each 12 to 15 liters. Yeah. Okay. Waste processing does not include. I have mentioned this in the slide itself. So waste processing require volume reduction, change in physical form, change in chemical form, recover usable material. So what does not include? Answer is waste processing require volume reduction. That's correct. Volume should be reduced. Physical form should be changed. Valuable material should be recovered. Chemical form will not change. because any waste, only the physical form like the density, moisture content, that only will change, not the chemical property. The carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen cannot be changed with the waste processing. So option C is not correct. Okay. So waste processing is used to reduce the volume, recover usable material, alter the physical forms. That can be done with this type of four processing technologies. So eighth question is common processing of organic waste is done by organic waste, that is wet waste, incineration, combustion, composting, compaction. Yeah. For organic waste, yeah, option C is correct. Yes. Composting, um, composting or vermicomposting, anaerobic digestion is for wet waste. Component separation, compaction, incineration is for dry waste. Yes, this is correct. So we came to the end of the session. So thank you for joining the session. If you have any doubt, please unmute and ask, or you can put it in the chat box. If you don't have any doubt, you can leave the meet. Thank you so much for joining. Please do the assignment by end of tomorrow. And you can, if you have any doubt in between during the videos, you can also post it in the discussion forum. You can find the discussion forum. I will also show what is discussion forum. Uh, you can go to the Swayam portal. One second, login. If you go to the course, you can find Q&A, and you will be redirected to a Google Forms, sorry, a Google Groups. So here you can see lots of questions that was asked by the participants. Those who are not able to join live session, I'll answer this question time to time. And if you have any doubt in between watching the videos, you can post your questions in the discussion forum. It will be answered often. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining. And other tabs also you can explore, like you can progress and then assignments. And I think you have to attend as per the course plan. You have to attend a minimum of eight assignment out of 12. The best of eight assignment marks will be taken uh, for 25 percentage, and for other 75 percentage will be your final exam. The addition of this two will be your final score in the certificate. And if you want certificate, you have to register for the examination. So end of exam registration will be 16th of August. So if you want certificate, please register for the exam and do the assignments. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
So we will meet next Tuesday, 6 to 8 p.m. Thank you. If you have no doubt, you can leave the meet. If you have any doubt, please unmute and ask. I'll be in the meeting for next 5 minutes. Yeah, thank you so much. I'll end the meeting. Thank you so much. I'll end the meeting.